Hi, Tracy here. So I have a fun story about how the universe works and how we can, how manifestation works, how energy attraction works. I know there's a lot of information out there that talks about manifestation. Oh, you can manifest this, manifest that. It's the universe. There are parameters, and it's not just a free for all. When we have to take inspired action, we have to follow the guidance that we're given when we want to manifest something into our reality. Um, so it's not just sitting on your couch. Hey, I'm going to manifest a lottery win today. It's not quite like that, and not everything's for your highest and greatest good. Your you know soul blueprint and plan may not have included wanting to win the lottery or date this specific person. It might not be for your highest and greatest good. So, one thing to keep in mind when we are really trying to manifest something in our reality, a new job, a partner, whatever that is, you're wanting to make sure it's for your highest and greatest good. But anyway, so I was just practicing, you know, my visualization. I feel like it's kind of changed a little bit. I've been a little bit more in my visions lately, and felt them more. So I've been trying to practice. So I said to myself, I'm just going to manifest something, and kind of wanted to see. It was just something simple that I can hold in my hand. And as soon as I sat down to visualize it, I all of a sudden got a picture in my hand holding a big shard of glass. I was like, no, 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 no. I don't want to have, because that means something is breaking, and I don't want that. So I was like, no, I'm just not going to worry about it. But I felt it. I mean, I was there. I was holding that glass. I mean, I felt very in my vision. Of course, the next day, I was meditating, and my middle son, came, and he's like, I broke something. I kind of chuckled to myself. Of course, you did. And he's like, I don't know where the glass went. He didn't tell me it was a big shard. He just said, like, there was glass. I was like, okay, well, maybe it's not. I said, well, just kind of vacuum it up. No big deal. So later that day, sure enough, I go and I start putting the dishes up in the sink. And I see the big shard of glass, just like my vision. And I chuckle and I tell my daughter, I said, why don't we'll do a little workaround. You pick it up and put it in the trash. And of course, she's like, you manifested this. So there I was, holding that glass in my hand, just like the vision I had seen. So, you know, it's always funny how the universe works. So, a couple of things with the story. Yes, I did in some way manifest it, but it had already been set in motion. So, when I set the intention to say, I'm going to manifest something, and I got the vision of the shard immediately, my guides, the universe, they were putting me in the fastest, everything. Energy moves in the path of least resistance. That had already been set in motion for some reason. That I think the class already had like a crack in it. So that was already, it was going to break. That was the day. So when I said I wanted to manifest, they showed me what would be coming in the quickest way possible that was going to manifest. So I did manifest it, but that particular manifestation was already moving forward. And I was able, when I set that intention with a free, clear mind, to just jump into that energy that was flowing and pick up on it and see immediately. So it's always the moral of the story basically is really to be mindful of what your thoughts are and what you're telling yourself. That is the most important part, because what we think does become our reality. And if we're telling ourselves horrible stories or negative talk, or that's why shadow work is so important, and really kind of seeing the root causes of our behaviors and our actions and why we treat people and do things, day to day. Um, so it's just a nice reminder to really, when you're trying to attract things into your reality, manifest, it's whatever you're not holding on to and putting up resistance with will manifest faster. That's why some silly things are a little bit easier to attract into your reality. And that's why it's also good to remember not to worry how it comes either. It's not your job. I need my rent paid this week and I don't know how it's going to come. Say, I'm not going to worry about it. It's going to come. Something will work out. And just believe it in your heart. And how it typically does. I've had plenty of stories that I would love to share. This was just the most recent. Um, so wanted to just share about how intention setting is very important, in visualization. Really, it's taking some time, be off your devices, away from people, and just sit. What do you want to invite into your reality? What are you working towards? How will you get there? And when you ask for help and guidance, the right people, stuff starts trickling in, and you just have to be cognizant of what is around. It's really about being mindful and being cognizant of what's coming in, where the patterns start falling, and follow the line of energy and vibration. And then you can kind of, that's where the timeline jumping, I don't like this feeling. I want to feel a little bit better. So you're moving to a different timeline. So that's kind of a short version of how it works, but really be just pay attention to what you tell yourself, what your thought patterns are, and when you're catching yourself in a loop that you don't want to be in and to something that you don't want to attract, just find something that makes you feel happy and think of that and just turn it into something just to get your mind off of the stress, the worry, the concern that you don't want to manifest, and really start putting yourself into a different, like, no, and it's hard. It is hard. It does take practice, but it is, start seeing where the day-to-day patterns, well, this happened, don't get stressed about it, and then this day something else, because everything's mirroring back your emotions and your feelings. And so it really is, just be cognizant, see what arises, sit mindfully, and feel into manifestations. A lot of feeling the emotion of. So like when I'm asked to manifest something and I got that vision of that glass, I felt it. I was there in my mind's eye, holding that glass, seeing myself, feeling my fingers holding that glass. I felt the energy of that moment. So when it actually occurred, I was like, okay, I felt it. I knew. So it was easy for it to come in because I didn't have any resistance to it. Do I want glass to break? Of course not. So it really is. Um, just be mindful of what you're putting out. Be mindful of where you're putting your energy and just how you're talking to yourself in general. And the more you start paying attention, you start seeing the fun little stuff, and you start seeing how the universe is playing with you, and and moving you where you need to go, and attracting what you need to attract. So maybe try it out this week if you're not already doing it, and kind of see, just see what you're thinking about, and just play with something simple. I want to manifest a yellow balloon or whatever it is, something silly, and just jokingly in your mind, just visualize it, feel holding it. Because just make it something you don't care if it comes or not. And just practice and play around, and just see, you know, what happens. And sometimes it might not come in the way you want it to. It could be someone, one time I wanted an answer on something. I said, well, if somebody says this word, and of course I met my parents later for something where I think I was exchanging, giving them one of the kids or getting back one of my kids. And he said the word, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll go do this class or whatever it was. Um, so yeah, so just be paying attention, and just seeing, and you'll know if it feels like just something that is divinely guided. And, like if you say, I want a bird, there's like a ton of birds outside. I mean, come on, make it something that's not your day to day, and just and see, what happens. I think there was also one with a TV show when I saw this lady. I was like, oh, I hadn't seen her in forever. And then like for the next few days, it was this show that I had not seen, and I don't think I'd ever really seen it, but I just knew about it. And something came up with this lady for like 2 or 3 days in a row, and I was like, that's it's just so funny how it all just because it's all of our mind, and it's the energy out there, and we just don't have resistance. So really start maybe journaling and keeping track of what your comes into your mind, and what feelings you get when things happen throughout the day, and then kind of see what comes up the next rest of the week or the next week, and see how it's all tied together. Maybe you think of this, show my age here, like the Smurfs when you're a kid, and the next thing you know, there's Smurf. I think there's a new movie or something. Smurf, whatever, every day or something. Somebody's like, oh, did you see? So just pay attention. Keep keep your head clear, and see what comes up, and then you're able to start moving in the direction a little bit easier that you want to move into, and working with the universe to get kind of what you need, and um, or what you need to move into that energy and that path forward that you're looking to go down. So, but if you have any questions, please, or want more clarification, please feel free to comment and subscribe, and I'll be glad to help you in any way I can. Thank you, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.